I think I discovered a Book of Mormon biblical anachronism that nobody has ever talked about before. Maybe it's been mentioned, I don't know, I've never heard it, I just came across this in my own studies. But this anachronism could debunk the entire premise of the Book of Mormon. The passage is in 2 Nephi 27, the chapter that foretells the coming forth of the Book of Mormon. It says that a book would be found and delivered to a man who would read the words. It says that the book would come forth from people who had passed on. It's an ancient record, and it would be delivered to a man who would read it. And of course, that was translated or taught by Joseph Smith, that he was the man who found the book, which is the Book of Mormon. This is exactly what the chapter heading says, as well as compared to Isaiah 29. And it is always insinuated and taught that the prophecy of the Book of Mormon coming forth and being translated by Joseph Smith had been prophesied ever since Isaiah. And these are the verses from Isaiah 29 that are similar to 2 Nephi 27, talking of the sealed book coming forth and being read by the man. So a question I ask a lot now when I'm reading the Old Testament is, when was this written? So I did a quick search about when Isaiah was written, and specifically the estimated time of when Isaiah 29 was written. And I found out that Isaiah 29 is estimated to have been written between 740 BC to 701 BC. And I instantly realized that this prophecy was fulfilled about 80 years later in what initiated King Josiah's reform. In the year 622 BC, the high priest found the hidden book of the law in the temple of Jerusalem. The high priest found the book of the law and gave it to King David to read, who then rent his clothes because he realized that he and his people had not been following the commandments of God. Not only that, but Isaiah 29 was specifically written to the city of Jerusalem. It says, woe unto Ariel, and Ariel means altar hearth, the place where they do sacrifices. Also the place where David dwelt. That is Jerusalem. And in this prophecy it said, for as much as this people draw near unto me with their mouth and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their hearts far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men. That's exactly what King Josiah realized was happening in Jerusalem. The people were not following God's law. And it says, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people. That was the people of Jerusalem. Isaiah was writing about the city of Jerusalem and what would occur there in the year 622 BC. I would never have realized this if I had not done my study on Malachi and tithing and King Josiah's reform. I'm 30 years old and I had never heard of King Josiah's reform until last year from my own studies. Not only that, but this would be so hard to catch even if you read the Old Testament all the way through, because the books were not canonized chronologically. Isaiah comes 11 books after 2 Kings, even though a lot of Isaiah happened before 2 Kings did. So to summarize, Isaiah 29 was written around 470 to 401 BC, prophesying of a book that would be found in Jerusalem and cause a huge reform. And in 2 Kings 22, which took place in the year 622 BC, about 80 years later, we read of that exact prophecy coming true. I'd also love to hear your thoughts on this. Is this something that you have heard before? What are your thoughts on it? What questions do you have?